Have you ever spoken in a meeting or a social gathering, only to feel your words evaporate like mist? Most people struggle to be heard, not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack presence. Today, we're unlocking 7 ancient Stoic linguistic tools that act like psychological anchors, instantly shifting the power dynamic in any room. These phrases don't just demand attention, they command a quiet, unshakable respect that lasts long after you stop talking. Ready to transform your influence? Subscribe now. Phrase 1. I will look into that. Most people feel an intense, frantic pressure to have an answer for everything immediately. When someone asks a difficult question, our heart rates spike, and we often fill the silence with ums, ers, or half-baked guesses that make us look uncertain. The Stoic, however, understands the power of the deliberate pause. By saying, I will look into that, you aren't admitting ignorance. You are demonstrating a commitment to truth over ego. This phrase signals that you are not easily rattled and that your word is too valuable to be given cheaply. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Nothing has such power to broaden the mind as the ability to investigate systematically and truly all that comes under thy observation in life." Imagine a high-stakes corporate negotiation where a young executive is grilled on a specific metric. Instead of scrambling, he looks the CEO in the eye and says, I want to give you the precise data, not a guess. I'll look into that and have it for you by 3. Instantly, the room feels his groundedness. He isn't a servant to the question. He is the master of the information. This phrase creates a vacuum of authority. While others are babbling to please, you are standing in a place of intellectual integrity. It suggests that when you do speak, what you say is the final word. It transforms you from a responder into a decision maker. People respect those who refuse to be rushed. In a world of instant gratification and shallow opinions, the person who takes the time to be right is the person everyone eventually follows. Phrase 2. That is outside of my control. This is the ultimate phrase of the Stoic dichotomy of control. We often lose respect because we complain about the weather, the economy, or other people's bad moods. When you vent about things you cannot change, you signal to the world that you are a victim of circumstance. Epictetus, born a slave but who died a world-renowned philosopher, taught that our only true power lies in our own opinions and actions. By saying that is outside of my control, you are drawing a line in the sand. You are telling the world that your peace is not for sale. Consider the story of a sea captain caught in a sudden violent storm. His crew is panicking, blaming the heavens. The captain simply says, the wind is outside of my control. The trim of the sails is not. He doesn't waste energy on frustration. He redirects it toward action. When you use this phrase in a social or professional setting, it acts as a pattern interrupt. It stops the cycle of unproductive complaining and forces everyone to look for a solution. It portrays you as a person of immense internal strength. People are naturally drawn to those who remain calm when the world is burning. When you refuse to be bothered by the trivial, you appear as a mountain among hills. You become the emotional anchor of the group, and that is where true respect resides. Phrase 3. Is this necessary? Marcus Aurelius famously asked himself this question at every waking moment. Most of our modern lives are cluttered with unnecessary tasks, unnecessary drama, and unnecessary words. When you lean into a conversation and ask, is this necessary? You instantly prune the fluff. You become the guardian of everyone's time. This phrase is a razor that cuts through the busy work of life. Imagine a group of friends gossiping about a mutual acquaintance's downfall. The energy is toxic and draining. You quietly ask, is this conversation necessary for us? The silence that follows is a sign of shifted power. You have just signaled that your mind is a high-rent district and you don't allow garbage to live there for free. This phrase commands respect because it shows you have a mission and a purpose. People respect those who have a high value-to-word ratio. If you speak less, but everything you say is essential, people will lean in when you open your mouth. It shows you aren't looking for approval or trying to fill the air. You are looking for progress. In a noisy world, the person who values silence and essentiality is the one who leads. Phrase 4. Explain it to me like I'm a student. There is a common misconception that to be respected, you must be the smartest person in the room. In reality, the most respected people are often the ones who are most willing to learn. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." By asking someone to explain something to you, you are practicing intellectual humility. This isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of profound security. You aren't afraid of looking dumb because your self-worth isn't tied to your ego. There is an old story of a king who disguised himself as a peasant to listen to the wisdom of a wandering philosopher. He knew that his crown would prevent people from being honest with him, so he stripped it away to learn the truth. When you say, "Explain it to me like I'm a student," you empower the other person, but you also control the flow of information. You are the interrogator of reality. This phrase makes people feel valued, and they will subconsciously associate that positive feeling with your presence. Ironically, by putting yourself in the position of the student, you often end up being the one who masters the situation. It shows you are more interested in the truth than in being right, and that is a rare, highly respectable trait. Phrase 5, "I can handle this." This phrase is the embodiment of amor fati, the love of fate. It's not just a statement of ability, it's an anthem of resilience. While others are looking for an exit or someone to blame, you are stepping forward. Seneca once said, "Fire is the test of gold, adversity of strong men." When a crisis hits, a missed deadline, a crashed server, a personal setback, most people say, "Why is this happening to me?" The Stoic says, "I can handle this." It's short, punchy, and utterly definitive. Think of a surgeon in an emergency room. When things go wrong, they don't give a long speech about their credentials. They simply look at the team and say, "I've got this." That calm assurance is infectious. It stops the panic in others and replaces it with confidence in you. This phrase commands respect because it promises a result without the need for handholding. It tells the world that you are a non-anxious presence. In any hierarchy, the person who can absorb the most pressure without cracking is the person who eventually sits at the top. You aren't asking for permission to lead. You are demonstrating that you already are. Phrase 6. Tell me more about why you feel that way. When someone attacks us, our biological fight or flight response kicks in. We get defensive, we raise our voices, and we lose our dignity. A Stoic, however, treats an insult like a laboratory specimen. By saying, "Tell me more about why you feel that way," you completely disarm the aggressor. You are taking their emotional fire and dropping it into a bucket of cold water. This phrase shows that you are so secure in your own character that someone else's opinion of you cannot hurt you. Epictetus taught that if someone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses. Just answer, "He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone." When you ask for more information during a conflict, you shift the dynamic from argument to investigation. You become the therapist in the room, and the other person often realizes the absurdity of their own anger when forced to explain it logically. This commands a massive amount of respect because it shows you have total mastery over your emotions. You are not a puppet whose strings can be pulled by a few mean words. Phrase 7, "My character is my own." This is the ultimate boundary-setting phrase. In a world of social media pressure and fitting in, maintaining your integrity is the loudest statement you can make. Cato the Younger, a legendary Stoic, was known for his refusal to compromise his values, even when it cost him his life. When you are pressured to do something that violates your principles, whether it's cutting a corner at work or joining in on cruel gossip, saying, "My character is my own," or a variation like "That's not who I am," is a power move. It tells people that you cannot be bought, bullied, or persuaded into being someone you aren't. People may not always like your boundaries, but they will always respect them. It shows that you have an internal compass that is more powerful than any external GPS. When you stand firm in your identity, you become a landmark for others. They know where you stand, and they know you can be trusted. This phrase turns you into a person of substance. It ends the people-pleasing era of your life and begins your era of true, Stoic authority. Respect is not something you demand, it is something you command through the consistency of your character and the precision of your words. By integrating these 7 phrases into your vocabulary, you are doing more than just changing your speech. You are changing your mind. You are shifting from a state of reactivity to a state of intentionality. Remember, the Stoics didn't just write these ideas in journals. They lived them in the face of exile, war, and betrayal. They knew that words are the bridge between our internal soul and the external world. As you walk away from this video, I want you to pick just one of these phrases to use tomorrow. Watch how the atmosphere in the room changes. Watch how people begin to look at you with a new level of gravity. You have the power to be the most respected person in any room, not by shouting, but by being the quiet center of the storm. The world is loud, messy, and distracted. If you can be the person who is calm, essential, and honest, the world will eventually stop and listen. That is the Stoic way. That is how you command respect. Now go out and speak with the weight of a philosopher and the heart of a leader.